Let's watch the SNEAKO versus MOISTCRITIKAL debate.
Oh, there is.
Anything under 18. If you're under
That's
18,
exactly what a child.
Extenuating circumstances, of course, but at that age, you are starting to become
It's a yes of consent debate.
independent. You are no longer just in your parents' household a kid. You
Right,
are
but
now going off into the world on your own.
You do admit that that varies for most people, right? A lot of people don't move out of their parents' homes until they're 25, 26, 27. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't.
there's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of
I'm
people
saying,
graduate
on the
high
whole,
school 16. A lot of people graduate high school
I
20.
guess it's like through promotions.
It's a huge variable. So to set that in stone is that
I agree. If you debate this, you already lost.
this is when you're a kid and this is you're an adult. That doesn't apply to most people. So why would you define a kid and an adult if it doesn't apply to most
Love
people?
from the Netherlands.
Because it needs to be defined. Otherwise, you can get into this really gray area where you, like a lot of the things you say, can be misconstrued as you wanting to have with a 15, 16-year-old.
Who construed that?
You what?
A lot of people, because I mean,
I don't
in
think
your
anybody
clips
thinks
that
that.
I played in the
There's-
video, you
there's
were
no-
saying like the age of maturity, the age of development, and then you use 16 and 17 in that clip.
So
like, for the age of marriage.
The definition of an adult is 18 years old.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fine establishment right there. Anything under 18 would classify as a kid. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Okay, but you're getting that from what? From personal experience, from the government, from the law? Because that's legally in America, that's when you become an adult, correct?
Yeah, legally. it
So
is.
you're following the government's
Yes, it's no hard and fast rule like what?
I mean, there's also quite a bit of
Hello, XQC have a
there's also quite a bit of science behind it.
definition of an adult.
I think there needs to be a definition, and
Science?
that one's been around for a long time, and I think that's the one most people accept as the closest to, like, yeah, this is when you become an adult.
It actually
I mean,
happened,
this is what most people agree to. I mean,
right, 200 years ago in the 1800s in America, the age of
Yeah, but we
marriage.
can't live like that. We're so much more advanced than that. Why would we play by
he's
those
actually living in the past.
rules? Because at that point, are you going to start arguing that we should be able to start wedding 12-year-olds? Like, is 12 too young?
That's not the point. I'm saying, you're saying that the U.S. defined adult as 18. Well, I'm saying 200 years ago, the age of marriage in America was 10 and the UK was 7.
Why is the standard that we apply
Why is he comparing to again?
200 years ago?
Right, so if the government decides to change it, you're saying it's 18. If the government, maybe if Kamala Harris gets elected, then the new legal age of an adult is 25. And there could be reasons to say that. They graduated college, they don't
What?
leave the house until this age. Their brains don't develop until they're 25. Your
I doubt that.
cortex is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. A lot of people aren't making serious money. They're not able to live independently. A lot of things that you could use to classify an adult don't happen for the new age American until 25 years old. So if Kamala Harris,
He's not right low key. I think it's a point that people agreed upon that it's developed enough. So
raised it to 25,
it's
would you
developed
then say that that's the new
enough.
age? Would you agree with
That's
that?
why there's science behind it.
I think that'd be totally understandable. Like, I
Right.
think
So
that's
does
fine.
that, so
Like,
then does
if
that
you-
make
if you
so then does that make anybody who sleeps with an under 25-year-old, does that now make them a pedophile?
No, I don't think necessarily that makes them a retroactive pedophile.
So what-
by
so
any
then what's a
means, But
pedophile?
it's an accepted definition of
Yeah, I don't think he knows what a pedophile means.
18 for a long time is
Not for that
agreed
long.
upon.
Not for that long, and not through most states.
Even though there is, maybe what we're saying is right that they stopped doing the science behind it after 25 or whatever, right? I think there's significant stuff that shows a decline after like 27 or 28. I think.
And not through most countries across the world.
Do you see why
Wait, decline in what?
this is like a weird take to have though? Like what? I don't think you're coming at this from a place
Yeah,
of you
some
wanting
studies
to fuck
are-
a 15-year-old, are you? Like, to go back to that question, is 12 too young? Do you think 12 is too young?
I think 12 is too young for me. Yes.
Well, for you, do you think 12 is too young in general? I feel like that should be an easy answer.
12 is too young in general, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't
But
think
I
you're
want
coming
to
at this
want to
from that
define,
angle.
but what you're saying, your definition of adult is not even the.
Imagine if you didn't call him out on saying in general or whatever, right? This is for him, which means that it's still being rationalized in his head, which I think.
The actual definition. Do you know what the definition of child is? Like anybody watching this can Google it. You can Google it too. The definition of child is somebody who has not reached puberty yet. That's the definition.
Yeah, and then you get into like the abibophile or whatever as
So where
opposed
does
to
he lose?
pedophile, and those are all.
I don't know.
very
I have no
pedo-
idea what those terms are. I don't know what that is, but I'm saying that's the
Yeah,
actual
surely not.
definition. When somebody reaches maturity, it's based off of biological and physical maturity.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
So
right
so
now,
so it varies for everybody. Adulthood is not something that you can set in stone because it's different for the entire world. Right? I moved out when I was 14. A lot of people don't move out until
There needs to be a general for a lot of people to agree on.
25. I went through
What's wrong
puberty
with
when I was
that?
17. A lot of people went through puberty when they were 13, 14, 15. It changes for everybody. So for you to say that this is the set in stone age and say you're about, if it's under 18, and then if you're over 18, you're fine. Well, then that's a weird line that doesn't make sense. So you're going to say this
It's not just physical, biological, mental, mostly mental, if anything. Mental, yes.
person is a terrible person if they're 17 years old, 364 days, and right after that they're good to go. But it changes for everybody. So we have to have something, a definition. We have to be
do.
realistic with
It's
everybody.
but
Well, we
there
don't.
is.
But you're saying we,
Yeah,
but
last
that's
pause.
not even.
We need an actual black and white point so we don't get SNEAKOs. That's the thing. We don't want to be able to say, well, I think this, well, I think that, well, my opinion is that, no, there's no opinion. It's black and white here, just so that we don't have this type of, that's what it is.
case
That's
in
how
the
that works.
country we live in.
It's that simple.
Why argue against it? If you don't want the age of consent to be lowered, why are you making arguments that the same people who do make? Right now, what you're saying is kind of what NAMBLA used to say, if you're familiar with
I
NAMBLA.
have no idea what this is.
NAMBLA was the North American Man-Boy Lover Association. They
Right,
were a
because
pedophile
these people don't want. They want to have sex to
Yeah,
take
why is it arguing against it?
advantage, and they don't
What's the
abide by the
pro-
rules
reason?
of marriage. They don't have any sort of morality. They just want
take sex
to
out of
have.
it.
I'm arguing for this because I believe in marriage. It should only be within wedlock. That's why I'm
So
talking
then
about this.
why, if you're arguing, we can take this out of it. Why, when you're arguing for marriage, do you want it to drop? Like, okay, 16. So
When did
16
When did I say? Just because I don't believe in the age of consent does not mean that I want it to drop. Like, see, that's where like the internet can go apply
Why
that.
is he arguing against it then?
Just
What's the
because I'm saying-
point?
Well, no.
No, because you're saying the definition of an adult is 18. I'm saying that's an arbitrary number and that makes no sense. We should encourage marriage when people reach maturity. That makes much more logical
That's
sense.
even more vague, though. Like, but also you directly.
It's vague
did
because
say
it's
to me
different for
that
everybody.
When someone can legally drive, they should be able to legally marry. You did say that to me.
Right.
You
When
can
somebody
legally drive.
is legally ready to drive, the same thing. I think adults should drive cars.
Okay, there are children that are better at driving cars than adults that lived and have driven their entire life. Okay, so that
Okay,
that you choose. Oh, guys, yeah, I mean, if you're ready to drive, if you're ready to do this.
What about him then?
8 years old, they're probably better than people that are like 7 years old. They've driven the entire life. That's what it is.
That's why I told you that.
The point is that that doesn't work. That's not a good point. It's not a good example or framework for this. You're just stupid.
Yeah, but you
Sorry.
15 and 16-year-olds can drive cars.
it's a better analogy.
You said when someone can legally drive
Across the
they
world,
should
15
legally
and
marry.
16-year-olds can have sex too. I think that people should not
see, that's-
operate. But see, you keep thinking that I'm saying this because I want the age to be lowered. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
That's what it comes across as, though. When you
maybe
say that
with
if
the
you
internet
are,
brain because people in the West they want to have sex all the time and they have a
Did we
different
argue about this a long time ago?
sort of mindset. Right here in the Middle East, I'm in the Middle East right now. They want to get married and then have sex. So people, just because I'm saying this does not mean automatically lower. No. That's not the case at all. I want to ask you then, because you're insinuating that it sounds creepy and that I sound like. What's the definition of?
it is an adult who is a
Never argue semantics on that topic. You're just gonna look stupid because as you say, because it's always gonna be. Well, technically, that's not what that is. That's attracted to children. That's it. And then there's a bunch of it's not the correct word. Is it? Whatever.
Isn't pedophile attracted to under third or something?
Like whatever.
to
Like
children.
Yeah, it comes from the Greek word pedo means child and phile.
it's
means
pretty much a buzzword.
Somebody
It's
who
pretty
loves
buzzword.
a child.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
An adult who is attracted to a child.
To a child, somebody who has not reached physical maturity.
Yes.
That's the definition
And
of
then-
child. Somebody who hasn't
Right.
reached physical maturity. It has nothing to do with 18. The definition of the word talks about physical maturity, not the U.S. government definition that you're basing it off of.
What?
But there needs to be an agreed upon place. Otherwise, you get into this area. Again, You said when you can legally drive, you should be able to legally marry.
Right.
Guys,
We don't have to talk
the
about
people
sex.
are brain
Do you
dead
think
now.
it's okay to be marrying a 15 or 16-year-old? Probably not, right? Like I would imagine, probably not.
It depends. So this is where the age of consent becomes arbitrary. I don't even believe like that. Consent is a weird thing to even speak about, but it should be the father, right? If I want to marry a girl, I shouldn't even just get consent from her. I should get consent from her parents. She should want to say yes. Her parents should want to say yes. That's consent from the family, and then you get married. That's the Islamic way. That's the only way that makes sense.
Wow, that's the only
Wait.
you get consent from both of them and your GG married.
So, I want to ask you then, because
This take is actually brain dead.
you're insinuating that it sounds creepy and that I sound like a pedophile. What's the definition of
Hold on.
Agreed upon place. Otherwise, do you think it's okay to be marrying a 15 or 16-year-old? Probably not, right? Like I would imagine, probably not.
It depends. So this is where the age of consent becomes arbitrary. I don't even believe like that. Consent is a weird thing to even speak about, but it should be the father.
Wait, no, it's not weird to talk about. It's necessary. It's needed to talk about. What is this guy talking about? Dude, consent is that's the main point. It's the age at which you can consent, and then that all the semantics are very important around that.
Right. If I want to marry a girl, I shouldn't even just get consent from her. I should get consent from her parents. She should want to say yes. Her parents should want to say yes. That's consent from the family, and then you get married. That's the Islamic way. That's the only way that makes sense. This American way of this girl wants to have sex now, she gave consent, and then you get all these false allegations like, oh, she was drunk.
And you don't see a problem with that?
Oh, she took it back. Oh, she retracted consent. All this stuff, like there's not even a specific way that we can define consent. What is consent? Some people say it's yes. Some people say it's like nonverbal communication. Some people say that it doesn't count because she was under the influence or she was intimidated. Even this is an arbitrary, is a weird way to define when you're allowed to be in a relationship with somebody.
You're kind of talking around it, though. Those are all very different things. Like I said, we don't have to be talking about sex. I was talking about marriage. The question was, do you think, and you said when you are legally able to drive, you should be able to legally marry. Do you think it is okay for an adult to legally marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
Okay, well, by my logic, if the man is physically mature, if he's went through puberty and he's mentally ready at the age of 16, he's an adult. If he wants to get married to another girl who becomes a woman,
I just said an adult. Is it okay for an adult?
Right, and I established, but we haven't even established exactly what an adult. So if some,
This is Brandon. They haven't established X, and they want to know Y.
He's just going around answer,
And they have an equivalent of X,
avoiding.
Y, and they don't have either of the values, so it's irrelevant. This is Brandon.
somebody
I'm
goes through puberty and they're physically ready, they're biologically ready, they're an adult. So they can, the two 16-year-olds can be considered
Jack,
adults
Jack.
by my logic.
We're not.
When does he get
we're
cooked?
not talking-
Yeah, he's not getting cooked. He's just not.
You can just type it in right now, but so do gamblers. So does every. Okay.
You know what's forbidden in Islam?
Gambling.
Well, I know.
Gambling. Yeah, I get it.
You know what's
You've
also,
gambled.
of course I have. I've drank before too, and I've had sex out of wedlock. Does that make me perfect? No. Islam is perfect, but we are not perfect. This is why we need rules. Alcohol, same thing. It harms you. That's why
Why is he preaching right now? Religion.
sex out of wedlock, it harms you. That's why we ban it. Cutting your dick
Wait. It harms you. It harms you how?
to them, that is irreversible. That is harm. Harm is almost
so do gamblers. So does every. Okay.
I pride myself in the fact that I rejected a $20 million gambling deal. I got a call
That never happened, by the way.
and they said, "Do you want to gamble for a year?" And I said, "No, I can't do this because my religion says this is wrong." You need to have something that's consistent. The same reason my religion says you cannot become a woman, you cannot cut a kid's off, I'm going to say no to that. You need to be consistent with your idea of harm because you know this is factually true. Trans people have the highest rate. They're some of the most oppressed people. They're constantly in therapy. After 7
Chad, you can throw numbers like that. Oh, guys, they offered me this or that, but without saying like what the terms of the deal were. I have to tell you one. I'll put my hands over fire and say that that's a flat out lie. He never got offered that much money, ever. There's probably no proof, nothing. And just say, oh, he was on a call, whatever. Dude, even if he streamed 20 hours a day out of 24, the entire year, they still wouldn't give him 20 mil. He's just yapping.
7 years, the dopamine wears off and they get depressed again. They want to change. The amount of people that want to detransition is huge. These people are set up for failure. It's essentially death. It's harming them.
Is Derek ready?
So why
Chat.
is it okay for
Chat, I have something to do with Tarek. Is he ready or not?
For a doctor to set somebody up like that, why is it okay for a doctor to harm a child?
It is again I didn't know you did that. I think that's a very admirable position to take on gambling. So I appreciate you sharing that.
You're against
I've
gambling?
never heard you do that before. Huh?
I've yapped about this. Like my community makes fun of me for talking about it too much. It was like a meme about how much I talk about it. That's why.
No, I had no idea.
Okay, you don't do it either.
What?
You don't promote gambling or anything?
No, man.
This guy's not against gambling. What is he talking about?
Do you drink?
I just started drinking again occasionally.
Occasionally, right? But you wouldn't encourage it.
No, I don't want people to go out and do bad things.
What's he trying to get to Charlie here?
I'm not perfect though, so
He is
I
not
do
anti-gambling. What are you
and I
talking
play
about?
poker with friends occasionally, but
Yeah, with small amounts of
your
money,
question-
you're not a gambling addict.
How is he? How's he anti-gambling? Brother, he hounds around the tables and plays it at the rock. What are you talking about?
no. But
What are you talking about? You guys are
big
redneck.
thing that I've
So, but yeah,
always seen from
that's
you
really
is-
good, bro. This is why I took this call because like I see, and this is why I don't hate. Like some people think I hate you and I don't. Like I see like there's a good person, bro. But the trans stuff, like this is actually harming people, and this is why I was right so long ago.
Oh, he doesn't promote it. Oh, okay. I thought this was about the idea of like some morality or some
And he's not doing on stream.
religion thing or whatever the fuck. So basically, religion
Unlike
is
this
what
guy over here.
you say, but not what you do, basically. So what we're saying is that to be religious means that you say, guys, I went and prayed and I ran and did this, but you actually didn't go and pray. It's all about the things that you say, not the things that you do, right?
What's even worse than
According to you
like,
guys.
messaging 13-year-old boys and being addicted to porn and all this stuff is encouraging people to do this, to follow suit. It's wrong. It's only been right for 10 years. We can't change human history and say that this new idea of kids taking
Take it
HRT and permanent damage to their body is okay. We can't change morality like that fast. That damages society. Even Mr. Beast, like a guy that you like a lot, and you know, I think even then I don't hate him. I think he's a good person.
Yo, brother, you ready?
What's good, man? You ready?
Okay, I guess I was ending there.